Hey everybody, today we are talking about funnels, potentially more funnels. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's today. All right, y'all. I'm Briar Harvey and this is Ask Briar, and I have the beautiful and amazing Jenn Robbins with me. First up, oh look at you.
Hi.
Right? So give us like the 45-second spiel here for us.
I'm Jenn Robbins. I am a funnel fixer and conversion copywriter. Basically, I'm the person that you call when you realize that you don't have your funnels in place or your funnels are not working properly.
Because she writes the copy. I don't like the copy. I like the tag. She doesn't like the tag. This is why we're friends, honestly.
Yes. Yeah. I like the strategy and the copy, and then I want to hand the tech off to anybody else.
The strategy is fun, though. So
The strategy is fun.
the
Yeah. It's the
strategy is
actual
fun. It's
like
the other work
making the stuff
part.
talk. Yeah. That's miserable.
Alrighty. So, question. Go.
So I guess my question is related to tech. Like I know you consider yourself kind of tech agnostic. Do you have like go-to tech tools is my first question. And my second question is, what do you really think about ClickFunnels? Ha.
Oh, ClickFunnels. Okay, we'll talk about what tech we actually like first. And I know we have a similar stack.
hmm
So I prefer to build on WordPress. I like Thrive Themes to do all of the page building, and the unrelated but similarly named Thrive Cart for the actual cart function.
hmm
I think that building your own back end makes it easier and more functional because when something breaks, you can really go through and identify, hey, what's not working here? The
Right.
problem with all-in-ones, of which ClickFunnels is just one, is that they do break. They break a lot. Like I get called
hmm
in for those kinds of problems, and sometimes it's very difficult to identify where the tweak is. Often it's not even anything I can fix. Often it's a, hey, contact tech support and tell them this is not connecting here. So
hmm
I hate all-in-ones. I like being able to control it more on the back end. And I realize that takes work. And I
hmm
realize that the advantage to all-in-ones is that you don't have to have the tech skills to make them work. But is it worth it if you're spending extra time in tech support? That's always my question.
Right. Well, and I mean, kind of in addition to that, like are you actually able to do it yourself if you have an all-in-one? Because I feel like most of the time when I talk to people, they're like, I actually don't know how to make Kajabi work. I have my VA do it. I'm like, couldn't your VA do the other stuff if you decided not to do an all-in-one?
Right. And they usually have to hire builders, designers
hmm
to make it look the way. I have a designer friend who is in Podia, which is probably my favorite of the
Okay.
all-in-ones because it's the least slimy. But ultimately, she's designing all of her pages in like Canva or Illustrator and then uploading them as images. Now,
hmm
you tell me what the problem is with that, because I know you know the SEO on page for images versus built-in text with headers is going to be pretty significant.
Yeah, and I mean, wouldn't it could potentially slow down loading if you have all of
Mhm.
these images? And it doesn't seem like the best idea.
So, and I think that's what I have other friends who use Kajabi, who use
hmm
ClickFunnels. A lot of them are very image heavy. They take time to load and to stream and to function. So yeah, I don't know that all-in-ones are beneficial. And I think that all-in-ones, particularly ClickFunnels, Kajabi, and Kartra, are slimy and aggressive. So
hmm
ClickFunnels. Who owns ClickFunnels?
Yes. The wonderful, wonderful announcement. Like I want to say Richard Branson. Like, no, it is not Richard Branson, but
It's
they're
Russell
similarly Russell
Brunson.
Brunson.
Russell
Russell
Brunson.
Brunson. They're very similar demeanors,
Hmm.
maybe.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
then we have Kajabi, who is owned by, do you know?
I don't know who owns Kajabi.
That's Jeff Walker.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
And Kartra, do you know who owns Kartra?
No.
Frank Kern.
This all makes so much
Doesn't
sense
it?
now. Yeah.
Doesn't it? Because what they've built in is the profit launch formula, right? You can see it now when you look at all of their funnels. They're all going off of Jeff's initial design, which is based on permission marketing, which is basically, for those of you who are not in the know, it's where I give you something for free and then you feel obligated to me, so you buy something from me later.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's exactly how I want to do business. To make you feel guilty and have to want to come work with me out of obligation later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. So now we know why they're all so similar in design, and I think that because all of those guys are in a mastermind called the Syndicate, you're more than welcome to Google it. You'll find a Wikipedia entry, and it makes them all sound lovely. But I think Marie Forleo was a member for a while, and her internet presence is kind of going bluey right now.
Did you ever watch Alias?
No, I did not.
There's I don't remember what it's called now, but there's it's like an association of a bunch of basically old white men, and that their goal is to take over the world in different ways. And obviously it's not the same thing, but I mean it is to some extent. They're taking over kind of the marketing world of I truly did not realize, this is not a put on, I truly did not realize who owns Kartra and Kajabi. So that's
no, and now you know, yeah, it's illuminating, and it opens up a whole bunch of doors for you. So my friend Kelly Deals has she's writing a book about the female lifestyle empowerment brand, which is all of those rah-rah, go get 'em coaches, mostly women, who have essentially come up through the coaching ranks by following basically these guys who I saw. Did you see in the Copywriter Club the email that was sent out from Kartra yesterday?
No, I didn't.
The day before? Maybe it was this morning that I saw it. And it was about how sales was a numbers game. And
the dating one?
The dating one.
I did. Yes. I didn't know that was from Kartra, but yes, I did see Kartra. That.
And the analogy that they used was that it's like a guy trying to go and get 100 phone numbers from girls, and if he gets 5, then he's won. It's a game, because that's what sales is to them.
And that's the whole other thing of I mean, sales, there's lots of ways you can look at sales, and that's definitely one of them. And it's been effective for them in the long term, but it also contributes to so many other things that aren't necessarily good for our industry. And that's what I feel like I was hating on the old white men aspect of it. There's definitely the blonde female version, brunettes too, but there's definitely the female version of the of that world for sure.
Oh yeah, and most of them are Tony Robbins coaches. Not to impugn on Tony Robbins, but he is, funnily enough, also a member of the Syndicate. So it's difficult when you are aware of what's going on in internet marketing to not see the old boys club very literally as an old boys club and manipulative at best, right? They just, there's a reason why all-in-ones feel aggressive. It's because they're designed to be aggressive. It's designed to pull you from, and the language is aggressive, right? You have a lead magnet, which goes to your tripwire, which then goes into your upsell.
Right.
right. It blows up into your upsell or your
Mhm.
downsell, or right. And you're pulling them aggressively through the funnel because that's because I don't think they conceive of another way to do it, right? There's no
Well,
way to.
and that's the real thing here is that, I mean, you said it's designed to feel that way. It's also designed to feel complicated. That's
Mhm.
why they want to sell you this all in one, because the funnel world is just so complicated. You couldn't possibly do it on your own. You have to have us hold your hand and walk you through this. When that is not true at all. That's why they name it stuff like the tripwire. Like they do have a masculine name, but it's also so you don't know what they're talking about. That's
Mhm.
why they all have different names. Like you have like 4 different names for a lead magnet and different names for a tripwire and an OTO and a bump. And that's what people come to you and they're like, I don't know what I need. It's actually, it can be so much more simple, but they don't want it to be simple.
And you say that, and I'm like, Jesus, I don't even know what an OTO is, and I build the
One time
damn.
offer.
Oh, there we go. Okay, your one-time offer. Thank you. I'm like, what the
Well,
fuck?
and that's why like I sat down and wrote like an online business dictionary that is essentially like saying, okay, this is the same thing as this. This is the same thing as this. And sometimes people will like, it also depends who you're talking to, because sometimes people call it an OTO, but they're like they mean a bump, and
Mhm.
it's all gotten so confusing, and it doesn't actually have to be, and you don't have to be so aggressive and slimy with it. And I think that's why it's helpful to not use an all-in-one, because it gives you a lot more flexibility in how you structure things and how you format it on the page and the words you use, and just being able to be less like in your face. Here's my comma award.
Okay, so this is supposed to be Ask Briar, but I'm going to ask you
Sure.
one thing. If there was one part of the funnel that you actually considered non-negotiable, what would it be for you?
I mean, you have to have some sort of list building funnel. You have to have a way of getting them in the funnel, right? So whether you call it a lead magnet or however you do it with your self-liquidating offer or tiny offer or pocket product or
God,
whatever they're branding.
those are all trademarked now. You can't use
I
them.
know. And so I'm like, what do you call it?
What do
Your
you
your
call it?
$27 offer.
Right.
Is self-liquidating offer trademarked now?
I think SLO is still fine because I think
Okay.
that is old school marketing speak, and I
So I
don't
don't think you could. Right.
think
That's
you
why I've been
can.
using SLO, because I don't want to get a cease and desist.
Right, but it's confusing.
It
Whereas
is confusing.
pocket product or tiny offer makes sense, and you go,
Mhm.
"Oh yeah, I should have one of those."
Yeah. So however you get them in, whether that's actually like buying from you or signing up for something, I do think that's an essential part of a funnel, because you have to get them in somewhere.
Mhm.
And you can do that in a way without being sleazy. And that's usually actually giving something of value, not asking them to pay shipping and handling for a book you wrote 20 years ago. I mean, there's a
Dan
bunch of different
Henry.
ways you can do it.
Dan Henry. Sorry. Sorry.
It's fine. He's not the only one doing
No,
that.
he's
So,
not the only one. There's so many of them. They're all guilty of it, and they all
mhm.
use. I feel like it's tactics at this point, right? And what
Yeah.
we're talking about here is a strategy. You need to attract people into your funnel so that they can get to know you, and the manner in which you do that can vary wildly. But
Right.
that's the important part, is getting them in and attracting them.
And to me, it's you get them in, and the goal isn't to guilt them into buying from you. It's
Right.
getting them to do that whole no love and trust with you, which I think maybe that's the feminine spin on it. But of getting them, like the whole point is like, I don't want you to buy from me because you feel bad for me. I want you to buy from me because you think I can help you. Like that's the goal at the end of the day. Is I don't want you to buy my $27 toolkit because you felt bad because you got my freebie. Like that just feels so silly to me. I want you to buy the toolkit because it'll help you build your list building funnel and start this whole process over again, but doing it
Yeah.
the right way.
It's
Yeah.
and that's what it's about. I like the tiny offers when they're actually valuable, and I think that they can really be a valuable introduction
100%. Yeah.
into who you are and what the work you're doing is. And in a way, and let's be honest, at this point in time, it's easier to pay $27 than it is to get a new email address. So I'm more likely to buy your thing than to buy a free thing if I don't
hmm
know you.
Right. And I think, yeah, I mean, you said it's why it's important if you're looking at creating one of those offers, like you have to be something of value. I bought one and it was literally a Google Doc with 52 subject lines. And that's not what the sales page said. But when I downloaded it, I was like, are you kidding me right now? This was $27. And like mine is like 7 PDFs. And like there's kind of like a happy medium. Like you don't want to like give people too much, but at the same time, like give them something of value.
Mhm.
And now when you're buying those tiny offers, you want to make sure that you're buying something that's actually theirs to buy. There's a huge problem right now with people like taking things, repackaging them, and then selling them as their own. So just because the sales page is awesome doesn't necessarily mean that it's
How
theirs to
many
sell.
plagiarizers have we discovered in the community in the last, I don't know, 2-3 weeks? It's been like,
It's a lot,
I think
yeah.
I'm out of fingers on one hand for them, to be honest, and they just keep coming. So yeah,
Mhm.
build something that your audience will find value in.
Right. Yeah. Something that actually like applies to them because that's the big problem with anything. I mean, whether you're doing a tiny offer, a lead magnet, a course, whatever, is that people go in and they create this thing and then they put it out there and nobody wants it. Like, oh, you didn't actually care to find out what your audience wanted. I mean, I've done that too. You spend like you get so excited about an idea and you create it, you put it out there and you're like, oh, that's not
And
actually
no one actually
not
wants
actually what
that.
they wanted
That's
that.
that's
Yeah.
not actually what they wanted.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's heartbreaking to learn that one the hard way. I've
Yes.
done that more than once myself for my own stuff. Cobbler's
Everybody does
children.
it.
Cobbler's
Yes.
children. Yes, but we're the worst about it, right? We
Yes.
can build it fine for everybody else. It's our own stuff that we're like,
Mhm.
no.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Jenn, thank you so much for being here today.
Of
This
course.
was absolutely delightful. And where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on jennrobbins.com. That's Jen with 2 N's and Robbins with 2 B's. And I'm on social media at the Jenn Robbins, all of the places.
All righty, darling. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. All right. So, parts of the funnel. We've obviously done a little bit of talking about the attraction, and we can do that with a lead magnet. We can do that with, we didn't talk a whole lot about a quiz. Quizzes are also valuable tools because everybody wants to take your quiz. Well, if it's a good quiz. If it's a good quiz, we'll take your quiz. We have self-liquidating offers. And if we're talking about free stuff, we should definitely talk about social media. Although it is important to note that you can attract your ideal client without ever being on social media. You do not have to advertise. You can send snail mail and nice emails. Alexandra Franzen teaches several courses on that subject, and she does not have social media profiles. So it can be done. I believe she's Susan Hyatt's copywriter. So not insignificant ponds she's swimming in. So we look at attracting and we're calling people in, and if we're going to do it in non-sleazy, non-aggressive ways, what we're actually looking to do is to call people in by building a relationship. So Jenn called it know, love, and trust. And I like love. We don't want to just like you. We want to love you. We want to be called into your world, and we want to feel like we're a part of it. And when we are doing this work in a more holistic way, when we are trying to sell things fundamentally from a place of giving something of value rather than making you feel obligated to buy, then what we have to do next is build a relationship. And we do that long term. I like this. Video is an excellent platform. Writing is a good platform, and any content you create can usually be spun in different ways. So I will take these videos and then I am turning them into a podcast, which will reach a different audience. And then I'm going to transcribe them and put them up on my blog, which will reach a still different audience. So content has the ability to be turned into multiple different things. It's just a matter of doing the work and figuring out the ways that your people want to build relationships with you. When we're building the relationships, then some of the things that we're looking at are the problems that you solve and the potential solutions to the problem. So if your funnel leads to, let's say, coaching, then the problem is very specifically the type of coaching that you do or that these people have. It's the very specific type of problem these people have, which leads into the solution of a very specific type of coaching. And then we get to the final stage of the funnel where we are solving the problem. And we sell by demonstrating our ability to solve that problem. So testimonials are helpful here, referrals are helpful. Any way that you can demonstrate a body of work, whether that is a portfolio or actual screenshots, perhaps, if you are a writer, that is written samples. So you are looking to sell by demonstrating expertise. And once you've demonstrated your expertise, then people will pay you money. And if we're doing this in a very leading way, as opposed to an aggressive way, then it is highly likely that more than half of those people who bought from you once will be repeat customers, because there is nothing better than a repeat customer. If you can sell them one thing, you can sell them a second thing. You can sell them a thing that is more tailored to them, because now you know them and their needs. You can very specifically design offers that will get to deeper and deeper levels of the work. So rather than thinking about the big all-in-ones, the profit launch formula, the way all of those things are designed is to think of a funnel literally as a funnel. And so you've got this big concentric circle at the top and this tiny little circle at the bottom. The problem with that is that what it means is that people are constantly jumping out. You're not funneling them down. You're eliminating them from your potential field of buyers. And we want some people are not our buyers, and we don't want to attract them. But we don't want to attract them from the first place. What we want to do is guide people in who are really supposed to be working with us, so that we can guide them further and further into our offerings so that they actually enjoy the process. If we're doing it right, they're actually enjoying the process from beginning to end. So ultimately, then, as we are solving these problems and presenting solutions that will work best for our ideal people, we are continuing to attract them into who we are and to our way of doing business. Making that feel good is the best way to build a funnel. Making it feel like we're a part of the process is what creates our raving fans, right? And those are the people who will talk about us. They will refer other people to us. And when we have those relationships, it's easier to convert because you've got that credential. And I think that if we can do that in a way that feels good, that makes us happy to give our money to you, then we're going to come back over and over. And we certainly, most of us, give a lot of money to, say, Apple, because they've cultivated a feeling. It's not necessarily about the product. It's about the way it makes us feel. For me, very specifically, and I'm not happy particularly to buy from Apple. I would prefer to My next phone will likely be a Samsung because they're entirely manufactured in Korea and there is no potential of Chinese parts manufactured by Uyghur slave labor because it's a value thing, right? But when we talk about Apple, the reason that I have chosen Apple and have used them for all these years is the size of the phone and the fact that it fits in my teeny tiny arthritic hand. And that it doesn't hurt them to use my phone. Whereas the other ones are big and I have to have knobs and they're uncomfortable and they don't fit in pockets because let's be real, women's clothing don't have pockets anyway. So this is just as much, the feeling is what I have purchased from Apple. And that's what we want to buy when we buy things. We want to buy feelings. We want to be sold in a way that makes us feel good for buying the product. So if you can capture that in your own funnel, then you are much more likely to be able to sell over time successfully and to many people. Which leads us finally for the day into my initial offer for September, because it's September, y'all. Look, it's the 1st. And do you know what you're selling for the holidays? Because it is 3 months till Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and potentially the most money you make all year. But here's how it works. Your funnel in this instance will lead people to make their buying decisions ahead of time. Most people don't make impulse purchases in December. They have lists. They plan things out. If it's an impulse, it's because it's been in a guide, right? We didn't know what to buy for person A, so we went and looked for online shopping guides, and now we found this thing that is perfect for this person. Otherwise, we have mostly figured out what we're buying well ahead of time. We do that frequently in November as we are looking through advertisements and buying guides and getting into our shopping list and holiday season mode. And even with the state of the world and pandemic being what it is, I do not think that our buying habits are going to change significantly this year. The amount of money we might have to spend will, but in general, I think most people are going to be buying the way that we normally do, shopping for holidays the way that we normally do. So we filter and make those decisions mostly in November, in the month leading up to the great big shopping days, and we decide what it is we're going to buy and what it is we're going to purchase, which means that if we're working backwards, all of those elements have to be in place by November, which means that content has to be developed and created in October, which means that in September, it is time for you to plan and calendar everything that you're going to be doing for the next 3 months so that you are ahead of the game. You should know what you're selling, relatively. You should know what it looks like, how to position it, and how you're going to market it. If you have questions, I am doing some funnel reviews in the first 2 weeks of September. I have several available. I'm happy to poke at your funnel and take a look and see where you are missing things or where it is best suited for you to make an offer. We can talk potentially about what a tiny offer would look like for you to generate right now so that you are generating people in your funnel so that they will buy your bigger ticket offers come holiday season. If you are a service provider or a coach, you're going to be looking at the same time, because even if they're not ready to go in December, they will be ready to go in January for the beginning of the year. So while you might have a little more time to sell, your offer window is more or less the same. And that's true of service providers who do long-term building or calendaring, planning, designing. It's the most magical season of them all right now. So get on top of things, get a design, get a calendar, get a plan. If you need help, let me know. My website is down below. And if you have found value from this show or any of my others, you can buy me some tacos. That's Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Briar. Thank you all for being here. It's been a delight and a pleasure, and I will see you on Friday. Bye.